Ram Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya 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 Ram Om Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya
जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री 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 राम जय जय राम ओम राम जय जय राम ओम श्री 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 राम जय जय राम ओम राम जय जय राम ओम श्री 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 राम जय जय राम ओम राम जय जय राम ओम श्री 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 राम जय जय
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Namaskar. Pranam, pranam, pranam.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Pranam, pranam. Anybody has any particular shloka in their mind?
Swamiji,
Ah,
Karma Sannyasa Yoga, 5th chapter,
ah.
27th shloka.
Eh?
28, 29.
Seven.
27th, 28, 29.
27, 28, 29. Same, huh? Same, she also got.
It's a total mixture.
Sparshan krutva bahirbakhyan.
Yes, Swami.
Huh?
Yes, Swami.
Yes, Swami.
we can read out the meaning. This is purely what we should try. Unlike other shlokas, these two shlokas, it is an instruction, a suggestion. But the real purpose will be served only when we do that, Do you think hearing will help us? Anyway, having asked, we will just read out their meaning because it is very deep. (27 and 28).
27,
28, 29, 3 are there.
Last one.
Last 3.
25th onwards will be nice to see. Charan. 25th onwards.
लबन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ऋषयत् क्षीणकल्मषा छिन्नद्वैत यदात्मानं सर्वभूतहिते रतः. With imperfections exhausted, doubts dispelled, senses controlled, engaged in the good of all beings, the rishis obtain absolute freedom in Brahman. कामक्रोध वियुक्तानां यतीनां यदचेतसाम् अभिधो ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं वर्तते विदितात्मनाम्. These are all high philosophies. Anyway, having asked, we will just read out, that's all. Sparshan krutva bahirbahyan chakshuschevandare bhruvo प्राणापानौ समौ कृत्वा नासभ्य अभ्यन्तरचारिणौ यतेन्द्रिय मनोबुद्धिर् मुनिर्मोक्षपरायणः विगतेच्छा भयक्रोधः य सदा मुक्त एव स. Shutting out contact with external objects, steadying the eyes between the eyebrows, restricting the even currents of prana and apana inside the nostrils, senses, mind, intellect controlled, with moksha or spiritual liberation as the supreme goal, freed from sensory desire, fear, anger, such a person is verily free forever. Do you think an explanation or reading this will help us? It is purely an instruction. Nothing is there to discuss. But have we qualified? Have we become qualified to do that? Each one has to decide. Shutting out contact with external objects, all my indriyas are going out, the sense organs go out to respective sense objects. We are asking ourselves, have we got enough control over our sense organs? Whether the I see with my control or whether it goes by itself. We have to watch this. It's a very important stanza, no doubt. But the very first word, shutting out contact with external objects. Even if we close the eyes, the mind goes in. Outwardly, we are closing the eyes. But that for which we have got moha, infatuation, attachment, definitely comes before our vision, whether we open it or not. So where should we begin? Next one, steadying the eyes between the eyebrows. Restricting the even currents of prana and apana inside the nostrils. When we yoga abhyas, even on a limited way, we will get a grand glimpse of this. Because yoga abhyas does not mean only some asanas. Actually, Patanjali starts with yama, niyama. No? What are the do's and what are the don'ts? Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, prathyahara, dhyana, dharana, samadhi. Kindly think about it. Here we would say that this particular shloka can be well understood only if we are practicing this. Without yama and niyama, how can we shut our contact with the external objects? Without pranayama, how can we control? So every day we suppose we say Nadi Shuddha Prakriya, no? The right nostril through which we take the breath and then release it, and then to the next nostrils, and then anuloma viloma, taking it through one, leaving it through another. So these are all some exercises by which the incoming and outgoing breaths are controlled. And the tangible gain is our total concentration will be on that incoming and outgoing. To that extent, the mind does not go out in the fields of sense objects. Senses, mind and intellect controlled, with spiritual liberation as the supreme goal. What is spiritual liberation? The feeling that I am bound has to go. That is liberation. In reality, we are not bound. But due to ajnan, we have localized ourselves to this body, mind, intellect equipment. However much we hear, still we are in the me and mine only. So there is a higher dimension within us, and then I must be able to realize that high dimension. That is the solemn resolve. we are checking up whether do we have that resolve. And freed from sensory desire, fear and anger. Such a person is verily free forever. So this is something which we have to try, rather than hearing the theoretical part of it. Long explanations have been given. But unless and until we try, how will we know? We may fail, 100 times we may fail, doesn't matter. But this is something on which there should be perseveringly tried. Toughest, this particular stanza, which has been pointed out now, it requires regular practice. Through trial and error method, we try to understand it. By hearing it, by reading it, by going through it, we may not go near to this theme at all. We will just again read. So, we can read Swami Ranganathanji's description about this, but we feel that far from hearing, learning, and not even contemplating, we must make a trial. The two verses compressing the whole subject of meditation, which provides an introduction to the next chapter, which is called Dhyana Yoga. So what is given in the nutshell here becomes expanded in more detail in the next chapter. Sparshwan Krita Bahi Bahyan, shutting out all contacts with external objects. So I would suggest, please read it more and more, and in whatever way we can do, we will try. We will not stuff our brain with so many concepts about it, because what is needed is a trial. Jump into it, that's all. If it doesn't suit, we come out. Again we jump. Again we come out. Is that clear, Lakshmi Narayan?
Yes, Swamiji. Yes, Swamiji.
And for a change now, we will have a quick recap of the entire 18 chapters as brought out by Vinobaji. Why we are bringing again and again Vinobaji's talks on Gita? It is directly related to our daily life. It is not a tall talk, it is not a theory. So, during his present days, when he was sharing from his perspective 18 chapters of Gita, he has touched upon certain aspects, but which are directly related to our daily life. It is also not full and comprehensive. Even today when we try, we may be able to unearth some more. No, I was looking whether we have got stress to spirituality. We have got here? Here? Before we take up this, there is a beautiful shloka in Vivek Chudamani. During our last year program, we made a video. Whether it is possible to show now. Are you ready? We will briefly explain. In the meantime, you can think about it. The shloka is this: Aptoktim khananam tatho parishila Yutkarshanam svigridim Nikshepa samkshepate nahibahi Shabdaistu nirgachati Tadvad brahma vidovadesha manana Dhyanadivir labhyade Maya karya tirohitam swamamalam Tattvam na duryuktibihi. What is the meaning? As a treasure hidden underground requires competent instructions, excavation and removal of stones and other debris lying above it, and finally grasping, but never comes out by being called out by name. So the transparent truth of the self, which is hidden by Maya and its effects, is to be attained through the instruction of a knower of Brahman, followed by reflection, meditation and so forth, and not through perverted arguments. For the sake of those who have not heard this, we would like to have the background. While taking up this sloka, Swami Chinmayanandaji told us in the form of an anecdote. Two families are staying nearby, probably in the same flat. They are very close. These children will go there and play and eat. They will go and take something. There is no separation at all. Very close. Not only, geographically or physically, but also emotionally. One day the head of a family passed away, suddenly. Immediately the other family also rushed up, tried to console the family members and helped them to conduct all the rituals for 13 days, 14 days. After the rituals were over, the eldest in the family where this just took place, he came to the other house and told the other person, "Uncle, we have searched everywhere, father has not left anything. We don't know how we are going to live." Possible? We have to put it in the form of a PPT. This is very important when we are taking up any in-depth study of any Shastra, like Bhagavad Gita. Because otherwise it becomes superficial, just hearing and going, just hearing and going. Something should go deep, Everything may not go deep. Something if goes deep, that will have its own positive impact on our thoughts, words and deeds. December. One minute. To this side. We are trying to show the video here. You all might have seen. Here, where I stand.
No, the wire.
No, not like that. Correct. Correct. As spiritual aspirants, we are reminded that the purpose of an in-depth study of anything, whether it is in quest of God, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, is to experience the presence of the indwelling and all-pervading reality. It should be very, very clear. Otherwise, it is not a reading session, it is not a hearing session. It is an effort to realize the indwelling reality. No matter how many janmas it takes, but we should be very clear about it. Only by delving deep into the text through regular and persistent effort to contemplate, reflect and meditate on the theme contained therein, this can be achieved. And certainly not by merely reading the text or hearing the text at the surface level. This shloka reminds us of that. Is it clear?
It will brighten after some time. Umaji, the brightness should be increased.
No. No. Is it clear?
It's clear.
Readable. During the sannyas centenary year of beloved Papa, back.
One page behind.
Back. Go back. Go back to the start.
Come to 0.
Correct. Unearthing the treasure within. During the sannyas centenary year of beloved Papa, you keep that pause button, okay? Pause button. Let it come. A year-long in-depth study was undertaken on Papa's first book, In Quest of God, from 27th December 2021 to 27th December 2022. Sadhakas should know that the purpose of the in-depth study of beloved Papa's In Quest of God, what happened? Is to experience the presence of the indwelling and all-pervading reality, Ram, only by delving deep into the text through regular and persistent efforts to contemplate, reflect and meditate on the theme contained therein. This can be achieved, certainly not by merely reading the text at the surface level. In Vivek Chudamani, the shloka 65 reminds us of this salient factor. While exploring the exceptional journey of self-discovery, a profound shloka number 65 from Vivek Chudamani offered us a unique understanding of the depth of study of In Quest of God. In our case now, the Bhagavad Gita. Param Pujya Adi Shankaracharya's Vivek Chudamani is undoubtedly a masterpiece of Advaita philosophy and perhaps his most famous non-commentarial work that expounds Vedanta in all its glory and Aptok in its glory and grandeur. Aptoktim khananam tatho parishila dutkarshanam swigrdim nikshepa samkshepate nahibahi shabdaistu nirgachati tadvad brahma vidovadesha manana dhyanadibir labhyade maya karya tirohitam swamamalam tattvam na duryukdivihi. Meaning of the shloka. As a treasure hidden underground requires for its extraction competent instruction, excavation, removal of stones and other such things lying above it, and finally grasping, but never comes out by merely being called out by name. Similarly, the transparent truth of the self, which is hidden by Maya and its effects, it is to be obtained through the instructions of a knower of Brahman, followed by reflection, meditation, and so forth, but not through perverted arguments. Pause. So we are hearing so many things, whether in the form of shlokas or whether in the form of any theory. So what is required is, just like this, it's a treasure. Treasure is inside us. We have to unearth it. Unearthing process will come to reality only when we start actually removing, excavating. Khananam, Khananam means going deep. So there should be somebody, a reliable person should give us the instruction, apta vakyam. Not everybody can give us. Suppose we want to dig a borewell, we cannot simply go and start doing the borewell work. In good old days, there were water diviners who have got their own theories of locating where the water is, and nowadays science and technology also gives us some clues. Through some devices, they will come and then they will do something by which they get the reading as to where the water level is. Is water available there at all, number one? If so, at what depth? And then we don't keep quiet. We have got this idea. We have to do actually the drilling. And when the drilling takes place, so many things come out, which should not be a burden to anybody. And then with perseverance and patience. Suppose, the indication is that we will strike water at 100 feet, but even after going 150 feet, there is no sign of water. So instead of getting disgusted, dispirited or dejected, placing our faith on the machine or the water diviner, we keep on doing it, and probably after 25 or 50, water comes. Today morning, one devotee was sharing us about how in a devotee of a saint, when he asked whether they were struggling for water in that village, which is full of granite stones only. But he said, you dig. Placing his words on the master, faith on the master, he started digging. Everybody was foo-fooing because it is ruled out. Only stony matter is there. For 2 years, if I remember right, 2 years perseveringly fixing up his faith, he went on digging. Unlike now, it has to be done by crowbar and so many other tools. Everybody said he has gone off the head. He also got exhausted. So he contacted the guru who was somewhere else and asked him, I am going to stop. Enough is enough. Then he said, you do one thing, dig one more day. And if the water doesn't come out, you can stop. Again, his faith, he started doing it. Immediately the water came out with its full force. So here the message is, we cannot simply talk, hear, discuss, no. That is not a spirituality. Those are all like, the water diviner's suggestion or the machine's suggestion and location. All those things it has helped us, that's all. But really, if we want to have the water, we must do the digging, removing all the debris, patiently, perseveringly, we should keep on going it until we strike it. That is what is meant. So as a, next. Next,
327. 3 minutes 27 seconds. Yeah.
To better understand this purport of this sloka, Pujya Swami Chinmayanandaji used to narrate a story of two families who were living in the same neighborhood. Two families were living in the same neighborhood. They were close to each other, distance-wise as well as emotionally. They used to join in each other's celebration at both houses. Children of one house would often go and play in the other house. In fact, there was no sense of otherness among them. One day, unexpectedly, the head of a family passed away. The members of the other family rushed to help them during their grief-stricken moments. They tried to console the wife and children, assisted them in carrying out the last rites and all the rituals thereafter. On the 13th day as the rituals got over, the eldest in the grieving family approached the head of the other family. Uncle, we were looking for the savings our father has made over the years, but couldn't find any. We are worried about how are we going to survive from now onwards. Uncle replied, don't worry. Your dad had worked hard, made a good saving for your family, but there is a condition. You have to make an effort to get it and not to be satisfied by merely calling the treasure to come out. Go to the room in the right side of your house. There you would find among the floor tiles one rather loose tile, unattached to the floor. Wait till it's midnight, preferably early in the morning, when the whole neighborhood is asleep. Gather all necessary tools for excavation. Go to the room. Remove the loose tile, start digging down. Uncle added, there will be plenty of debris, don't throw them around, keep them in a side, make sure that there is no publicity for this whole exercise. It may take few nights to finish digging, never get dejected or dispirited, have faith in your father. As you keep digging, one day you will hear the sound of your digging tool hitting on a metallic thing. It would be a copper vessel. Don't damage it. Lift it up. Remove the cover on the top. Inside you will find the treasure your father had saved. That will be enough to take care a few generations of you. Believing in his instruction, they went back to their house and did exactly how they were instructed, perseveringly, without fail. Believing in They never doubted his words. They were never complacent in following the instructions. Finally, they found the treasure at the end of a long and hard search. This story is a fictionalized version of our spiritual journey. On a deeper reflection of the story, you may find 5 phases are there. First is struggle, then quest, then faith, then practice, then finally self-discovery. In this story, the family that loses their head is facing a serious setback in their life. Life is full of ups and downs, pleasure and pain, success and failures. Often expectation is one thing, reality is something else. Nobody's life is a bed of roses from the beginning to the end. A person becomes a seeker when he realizes that nothing is eternal in his life and everything that he was holding dear is ephemeral. So when the heartbroken family came to know that they were in deep troubles and utterly helpless, they went to the person whom they deeply trusted and whose wisdom they unconditionally believed. So when a seeker realizes that he needs guidance on the direction of his spiritual journey, by divine providence, a guru, personal or impersonal, arrives to direct him towards the ultimate goal. The quest begins when we are humble enough to admit that where we are now is nowhere near where we need to reach. Wait. The quest begins when we are humble enough to admit that where we are now is nowhere near where we need to reach. This is the first thing we should know. In this story, the grieving family has full faith in their advisor and faithfully followed his instructions. In life, finding one's guru is only a beginning, not an end in itself. One has to have unconditional faith in his wisdom and faithfully follow his instruction. It is worth remembering that what we see as a butterfly is the culmination of a transformative journey of a caterpillar. The smooth pebbles we see at the seashore started their journey as rough-edged rock pieces. Having received the instructions, the grieving family, without any doubt or trepidation, acts on his words in right earnest. Every aspirant has to keep his mind. Guru is the guide to the destination, not the destination in itself. Having found the Guru is not enough. One has to practice his precepts unfailingly. Finding a signpost is important, but it is even more important to walk in the direction with faith, conviction, and commitment. If we decide to follow our Guru's message, we will have to dig deep into our inner resources. As we go deeper, we will find the divine treasure we are searching is already within us. From the very beginning, we have been searching outside all over, like the musk deer in the Upanishad story, frantically searching for the divine aroma. Every drop in the ocean contains the trace of salinity. Every one of us contains the essence of divinity. In Beloved Papa's words, be conscious always that the God that you pray to is within you, everywhere about you. His protection and grace are there for you, ever for you. Be always aware that He is guiding you from within. Over. So this is the beginning. So whatever we hear, we should know it is a food for thought, food for contemplation. Otherwise, we may not be able to eke out the real benefit from it. If we just mug up the words, no. So with that background, we will just have a quick review or recap of what Vinobaji said about this 18th chapter. The first and foremost purpose of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is to illuminate for all of humanity the realization of the true nature of divinity. So this we should know. Bhagavad Gita is to make us to know the indwelling reality about which we are not at all aware. At a personal level, Gita is considered to be a perennial source of insight and inspiration to solve all the problems of our day-to-day life. Talks on Gita by Acharya Vinobaji unravels the Gita's essence in a simple, candid, relatable manner so as to enable a common person to efficiently deal with their umpteen daily challenges and hurdles. The Gita is undoubtedly a treasure of self-knowledge. If you explore it deeper, you can gather many precious gems to enrich your life. So this is an attempt to compile some valuable insights from Vinobaji's incomparable observations on the Gita. Obviously, we are fully aware that we could only have a glimpse into the unfathomable treasure chest of Gita. Nevertheless, this attempt will hopefully serve as a set of signposts to those who are on the quest to attain self-knowledge. Precious hints from the 18 chapters of the Gita. First we will have one line, and then we will go. In the first chapter, Vinobaji reveals the Lord's clear assurance to us, the path to the fruition of life, if we hand over the reins of our sense of individuality mind to the Almighty Lord. Remembrance. Here comes Papa's, oft quoted, oft repeated, thrust on chanting his name. Because the purpose of chanting his name is to hand over the reins of our mind to him. That is why he said we are chanting the name of the one who is within us and who is making me to chant the name. So here Arjuna entrusted the reins of his horses to Lord Krishna. So according to, there are so many dimensions in the first chapter of Vishada Yoga, but Vinobaji puts it in a beautiful way. Sum and substance of it, our effort is to hand over the reins of our mind to him. Second chapter, one should know that the sense of individuality is the root of all our problems. This is centered on the body, mind and the senses. The second chapter shows that self-knowledge is needed to know that this is not our true nature, and reveals the signs of a sthita prajna who has attained self-knowledge, steady wisdom. The immortality and the indivisibility of the self, the perishability of the body, the inevitability of Swadharma are the major themes in the second chapter. The immortality and indivisibility of the self, the perishability of the body, the inevitability of Swadharma are the major themes in the second chapter. And then third, no one can live without doing any karma. The third chapter shows that one has to convert karma into karma yoga in order to rise above the sense of individuality. So in the first chapter we found, we have to hand over the reins. How to do that? So we try to understand the perishable nature of the body, mind, intellect, and the indwelling reality which is now activating, pulsating, animating the whole equipments. And then with this knowledge, we come to the actual field. Every day we have to act right from the moment we get up in the morning till we retire to bed. So here we have been told to convert all action into karma yoga. That means dedicating to the God. Why? Everything has been provided by him. Whatever we feel it is ours, it is all provided by him and him only. Right from the tiniest, minutest to the grossest, everything is provided by him. So all that we have to do is to convert all our actions into an offering to him, that is called karma yoga. And then the fourth chapter explains that vikarma is the process to expand karma, visheshana karma. That means bringing quality into the karma. It becomes perfect. What is to be offered to the Lord should be a perfect offering. So from any side if we look at it, it should be perfect. And then the fifth chapter deals with karma. When it is enjoined with this perfection, it results in the absence of sense of agency. In other words, it becomes natural to us. In Vedantic language, karma becomes akarma. Even now, when we were walking from our rooms to this satsang hall, the walking went by itself, is it not? Though there is a subtle prompting from the mind, every step that we took, it was natural, na? We are not conscious of even walking, you know? Think. So action is going on. So when the dedication or when the attention is drawn on an ideal, then the action by itself becomes akarma, non-action. Apparently there is action. And then according to the 6th chapter, if karma is to become vikarma, inward journey and consistent practices are necessary. How to do that? There should be some control, moderation, one-pointedness, and firmness. This should be there. Otherwise the mind, everything is let loose means we will not be able to do that. If the karma has to become akarma, a purified karma, which ultimately should enable us to reach the ultimate, then we have to impose certain self-prompted disciplines in our mind. And 7th chapter points out how we can identify the common factor in the varied manifestations that are apparently different from each other, which perplexes our mind. So when we keep on doing it, we find varied manifestations. You are leading an honest life, upright life, but when you move with men and matters, suddenly something crops up for which you have no control, and you always think, why should it happen? So that means there are many forces that are not in our control of our so-called sense of individuality. So we try to trace the origin of it so that it does not hamper our progress. The secret behind the multivarious manifestation. In the explanation it will come later. And in the 8th, when it is known that one's life ought not to be limited to me and mine, but is meant for experiencing the presence of the common factor, God, what is needed is to develop good samskaras to attain self-knowledge. To be more blunt, 8th chapter deals with death and death only. Before we die, we should prepare this mind. Otherwise, what will happen? The same thing will be continued in our next birth. Because our goal is to become one with Him, to become aware of His presence, and to work out what He has assigned to us, that means the constant subservience to that reality should be predominant in us, and so to that extent the me and mine should get itself reduced. For that good samskaras have to evolve. So before I quit this body, I must be able to rid myself of all the down-pulling tendencies and place myself in a higher realm. So that is what is Akshara Brahma Yoga in 8th. Then life becomes fulfilled when there is constant God remembrance. According to the 9th chapter, Nama and Seva are helpful for God remembrance. Because there, he says it is the express highway. Always thinking about Him and becoming aware that everything is made to do. In me, I am made to do certain things. I am made to think. I am made to talk. When that comes, there is absolutely no risk at all. I can close my eyes and run through the express highway, there won't be any accident. This is the 9th chapter. Rajavidya Rajaguhyam. And then, along with the above, effort should be made to feel the divinity in all creations, different types of situations, behaviors, characters, pairs of opposite. This is the essence of chapter number 10. Vibhuti Yoga. Then, seeing the divinity in all means that we feel we are instrument in God's hands. This is what the 11th chapter highlights through reference to Vishwarupa Darshan. The 12th chapter reveals the signs of a true bhakta. To have the cosmic vision, one has to become aware that God is equally present both in saguna and nirguna. The 13th chapter explains the gradual transition from the individual to universal, from the body to the knower of the body, and ultimately knowing both. Kshetra Kshetratnya Yoga. The 14th chapter points out how three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, prevent the individual from expanding to universal level. So getting over this hurdle is a must for spiritual progress. According to the 15th chapter, unless and until we see the God dimension behind every thought, every word, every deed, spiritual progress is impossible. This process blends jnana, bhakti and karma and enables to have proper relationship with me, the individual, God and the indwelling reality and rest of the creation which are God's manifestation. So there are only three things now: me, the aspirant, the bhakta; he, the indwelling reality in me and everywhere; and rest of the things are articles of worship. Anything. My thought is an article of worship, my word is an article of worship, things are article of worship, whatever I handle is an act of worshipping, whether at home or in the office or with friends. The 16th chapter, Lord exhorted us to shun the demonical qualities, acquire the divine ones. When we practice this, we find old debris, all of the down-pulling tendencies are there intact in us, which were only waiting for a time to come out again. Like the snake and ladder play. We reach up to the top, suddenly the next stroke, we are at the bottom. So here the Lord gives us a clear-cut definition of the demonical as well as Devic, the down-pulling as well as uplifting values in us. The 17th chapter says it is our duty to act in such a way that the three institutions, nature, society and the body, function smoothly and efficiently through yajna, dhyana and tapas. Yajna is to give back to the mother nature from whom we have taken, that is any productive activity, any creative activity is called yajna. Dana is giving back to the society for whatever the society has given to us. Tapas is giving back to the body for whatever, through austerities, for whatever we have extracted from it. So the 17th chapter highlights. And finally the 18th chapter. Unqualified and total surrender to God alone will result in the individual becoming one with the Lord, which is the ultimate success of a person's life. This is the essence of the 18th chapter. These 18 chapters remove doubts and confusion that may well up in the mind through discriminative faculty and analysis Finally, the Lord has given us the freedom to act as they wish, as we wish. In surrendering ourselves totally to Him, based on His teachings, the freedom given by the Lord is offered back to Him. It's a wonderful word Vinobaji uses, no? Very touching word. The Lord has given us the freedom to act as we wish. In surrendering ourselves totally to Him, based on His teachings, the freedom given by the Lord is offered back to Him. Karishye vajanam tava, no? I will do exactly what you have told me. This is how Arjuna ends the whole dialogue. Lord gives him, yadechasi tata guru. So whatever you feel, you can do it. I have told you whatever is to be known. But it is left to you. So here he says, the Lord has given us the freedom to act as they wish, as we wish. In surrendering ourselves totally to Him, based on His teachings, the freedom given by the Lord is offered back to Him. Thus the Gita teaches that He is the only reality and we exist only because of Him. Vinobaji puts it in a capsule form. First also he says, unless we hand over the reins of our mind to Him, we will not be able to follow the teachings. Subservience to that higher power is a must. And then we go through one by one, we relate it with our own life. Many of us are in the evenings of life, so it will be easy for us to parade before our mind such are the experiences that stand out in our remembrance, and then you will find why you remember it. Because it has some connection with your inner core of your being. Somebody's words, somebody's deed, somebody's gesture, some situations. So with that, we parade, we try to connect. Based upon this, then the perspective changes. Previously, we were thanking that individual, thanking that opportunity, thanking that object. But now we know God, it is God who arranged for us to go through such trying experience and then made us to learn so many things, and finally to make us know that as an individual, I do not exist. He is there in the form of life force in me. He is there in the form of awareness in me. He is there in the form of intelligence in me. And so many other things. Bereft of Him, I do not exist. That is why on the last page, Vinobaji used to say, our ultimate aim is to become a zero. Zero means not that we become unproductive. Please don't think that. Not that we become idle. No. We become dynamic. We become highly creative with the feeling that He is making us to do so. It makes a lot of difference. Outer productive efficiency, inner character efficiency. Both goes hand in hand. Gita is asking us to involve ourselves, enter into this phase of life. You be protective because God has sent you with a mission. All that you are enjoying is the gift of God through such creations. Even the very mic through which this sound is amplified, even the laptop through which all these things are shown, even the hall in which we are sitting, even the light and the fan that is made possible through electricity, all these things have come from God through His selected creations. We cannot deny this fact. We cannot close our eyes. So we have to be productive, we have to be creative, we have to be dynamic, but at the same time, previously we were all feeling that we are doing it. Now the only difference is we know that He is there, giving us the needed prompting. He is there, giving us the life. He is there. That is why we are conscious of doing it. So the consciousness or awareness, the life principle in us, the intelligence in us, the probing nature in us, all these have been given to us to make ourselves creative and dynamic, and at the same time to become aware that we are drawing the necessary inspiration from Him, the inexhaustible energy. More of it we will try to take it up tomorrow. So the idea is, the moment we think about Bhagavad Gita, from each chapter we should connect ourselves. Again we will do it tomorrow with more explanations on chapter wise. Hari Om. Don't forget about the first video, the treasure. We have to do the digging. Merely calling the treasure, it will not come out, They were able to unearth the treasure by their own hard work. So every one of us has to do that. Nobody can give this to us. Each one has to dig it by themselves. That is a powerful message given through Vivek Chudamani. So with that background, we will again approach the Mother Gita and try to unearth whatever is possible for all of us to dig out and bring it out. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram. Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om, everybody. Pranam, pranam, pranam. Pranam, pranam, pranam. Namaskar, namaskar. Namaskar. Hari Om, Hari Om.